When it comes to Winx Club transformations, the one everyone always forgets is Charmix. So much so that eventually, the base Magic Winx form got renamed to Charmix. But why? Well, partially it's because it's in Season 2, which is by far the most underrated and overlooked season, and that's definitely not helped by the fact that Nickelodeon skipped over this one, and the terrible 1-hour special butchering its story completely gutted Charmix, and all the character development associated with it. But in truth, even rewatching the original, Charmix feels more like an afterthought. It's a cute idea that winds up falling flat because of its late introduction, its poor execution, and its lack of presence in the narrative, and in the end gets written off as yet another cheap ploy at merchandising. Which, I mean, yeah, Charmix absolutely is that, but I think it also could have been so much more. It could have been the perfect representation for all the character development present in Season 2. Bloom's anger issues and identity crisis, Stella's insecurities and tendency to put her foot in her mouth, Flora's shyness and fear of rejection, Musa's strained relationship with her father over her late mother, Tekna's refusal to be vulnerable, and Aisha's fear of isolation. So today we're going to talk about the Charmix, what it is, where it fell short, and how maybe it could have been handled better. But before we begin, ciao! If you're new here, my name is Thomas, aka the Unicorn of War, and I talk about animation, games, whatever media I damn well please. If that sounds fun to you, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications because YouTube hates creators. And also please consider, if you are willing and able, pledging your support for myself and the channel over on Patreon. Patrons get access to early cuts of videos and video scripts, Patreon exclusive content, and the private Union of War Discord server. Now, without further ado, let the chaos commence. Unlike a lot of other transformations, which are either entirely new designs or variations of existing ones, Charmix is more of a booster, represented by accessories, a brooch, and a purse. Given it's the second form of the series, it is essentially an introduction to the idea of powers beyond the base Magic Winx form, and by keeping it something low-key, it helps to give Magic Winx more time to shine, while also bridging us towards Enchantix next season. At the very least, the Charmix designs are cute. I low-key kinda like them being minor accessories. Bloom's got this windy little heart-shaped jewel around her brooch, and a heart-shaped pink fur purse, both of which are adorable and match the heart motif she's got going on. Stella's is said to be a mirror-shaped jewel.
It's like a mirror. It's a mirror-shaped jewel.
I'm really not getting a mirror vibe looking at it, not gonna lie, but it is pretty. Her purse is a simple orange bag with blue trims, matching her color palette with a crescent moon on the bag. The one time she's ever displayed the moon proudly. In the original, all her spells are mirror-themed, by which I mean they have mirror names, but visually they're just energy blasts.
Mirror flare! Reflecting mirror!
Flora's brooch is the top half of a heart, the arms looking like vines. And she's also got this cute shoulder bag that immediately stands out from the others, and the purse itself looks like a closed rose. Musa and Tekna's are arguably the most suited to their powers. Musa's brooch is a treble clef shaped jewel, and her bag is a CD player. Personally, I would love it if she threw magical CDs like ninja stars.
Now that's the sound of magic power.
Tekna's got a triangle-shaped jewel around her brooch because triangles are the most scientific shape. Her bag is, I'm assuming, a transmitter? I would have liked if the bags had unique powers based on their designs. I'm not really sure what this thing would do, but at least it looks sufficiently nerdy. Actually, Tekna does connect to the Specialist Starship in episode 24, and I always found it odd that she was the only one in that episode to not use her Charmix. So maybe that could be what her Charmix is for. It lets her hook into different machines or computers in order to pilot them. Aisha's jewel is, yeah, it just looks like a weirder version of Stella's. I'm guessing it's supposed to be reminiscent of a fountain, given her association with water. The bag is a pink water gourd, which honestly reminds me more of Piff's little bonnet. I get them being water themed, but it feels kind of odd since Aisha mostly uses Morphix and Plasma, and at a glance, I really don't get water from this. The way Charmix is earned differs depending on the dub. In the original, a fairy earns her Charmix when she overcomes a fear.
It's a Charmix. It's something a fairy can earn when she manages to overcome her weaknesses.
While in the 4Kids dub, it is about a fairy getting in touch with her true self.
You got a Charmix, Bloom. Fairies get them when they get in touch with their true self.
One is about facing something you dread, while the other is more introspective. Really, they feel like two sides of the same coin. Becoming a stronger, more courageous person by facing your fears. Of course, the levels of satisfaction change depending on the Winx. Bloom's the first to achieve her Charmix after coordinating everyone's escape from a falling cable car in the Wildlands. Oddly, it feels like the requirements of Charmix swapped between dubs. In the original, where Charmix is about overcoming a fear, Bloom focuses more on the regrets of losing faith in the Winx as a team and her faith in Sky as a partner.
I'll admit, I'd lost faith in us as a team lately. Oh, Sky, I'd even lost faith in you.
Meanwhile, in the 4Kids dub, where Charmix is about introspection, Bloom is talking more about the fear of the situation, and Sky praises her bravery.
I can't tell you, I was so worried about everybody. I'm just glad we're all out of there and safe.
We got out because of you, Bloom. You were brave and awesome.
Weird that. Either way, it's fine, but it's not the most riveting way to earn the Charmix, especially the first Charmix. Stella and Musa are the next two to get their Charmix in the very next episode. Stella, who had been having conflict with Aisha given how Stella's love of luxury has made her resent the Wildlands.
You can't live without shopping malls and glamour magazines, can you? Well, this is who I am.
Gets upset when Aisha suggests sending a postcard to Stella's parents, not knowing that they're divorced.
I would have thought you'd be in a hurry to send your mom and dad a new picture of you.
Of course I want to. I just don't know what I'll write yet.
Stella's parents are divorced. She doesn't talk to them much.
Oh, I didn't know.
She pretends not to care about things, but she's really sensitive.
Aisha, feeling like she doesn't know the Winx at all, goes off alone in the wilderness. Great idea.
I didn't know Stella's parents were divorced. I guess I really don't know them at all.
I mean, I've been there. Sometimes you just need a sad, dramatic cry in the woods. Stella goes to find her, apologizing and inviting Aisha into the fashion show that she'd been organizing with the other Winx.
Listen, I feel a little left out too sometimes.
You feel left out?
You bad, like this camping stuff. I just don't fit in.
You got that right.
In the 4Kids dub, Stella more emphasizes the walls that she puts up to guard against her insecurities.
Some of the things I say and do are just me putting up walls because I'm insecure.
You're insecure?
Sometimes. Anyway, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
This earns her a Charmix. Still feels a bit underwhelming, but it's a nice bookend to the conflict that's been brewing between these two the whole season, given their polarizing personalities. And it's way more satisfying than Bloom's Charmix. Musa's, meanwhile, unfortunately is connected to her crush on Riven. Riven notices Darcy in the woods preparing traps for the Winx, and Musa leaves Riven alone to keep tabs on her. In the original, it's about Musa trusting Riven with this, since he was under Darcy's hypnosis in the first season.
No, you stay. I'll go.
You'd leave me alone with her? You're not worried?
I guess I'll just have to trust you.
Which feels kind of weird and a tad victim blamey. Like, yeah, Riven is trash, but he was still under a dark spell while working for the Trix last season, one which ended with the Trix turning on him and then him having to free fall his way to safety after escaping imprisonment under them. In the 4Kids dub, the trust angle is gone, instead about Musa straight up telling Riven that she likes him.
Oh, and also I like you. A lot. Don't panic, you don't have to tell me how much you like me. You can do it later.
It's still not great because, you know, it's Riven, but it is a lot cuter and much less aggravating. And this confession grants her a Charmix or whatever. I kind of hate it. Moving on. The Charmix kind of comes in clutch in these episodes. Since the Wildlands are a magic-free zone, the Winx are powerless here, only able to use short bursts of magic once they have earned their Charmix. Bloom, for some reason, only ever uses Charmix twice, not once of those being in the Wildlands, leaving Stella and Musa to become key players in stopping the Trix. Aisha gets separated from the others and lost in a dark cave. In the original, she is terribly afraid of the dark, which is connected to her fear of being left alone. She overcomes this fear in order to help her friends.
Musa, she must be under attack right now. She's facing real danger while I'm here trapped in my stupid fears.
It's more or less the same in the 4Kids dub, save for the omission of the fear of the dark.
They need me! I've gotta help them! But I'm stuck in here, I can't! No. I gotta find a way out of here and help my friends no matter what!
She gets her Charmix, flies out of the cave, and meets up with Bloom and the Pixies. Tekna, who has been annoyed at Timmy for a while because he won't confess his feelings, gets worried when Timmy is nearly killed in his plan to stop the Trix. In the original, it's confusing? She says she judged him for superficial things, by which I assume she means his cowardice when the Trix stole the Red Fountain Codex, and Timmy didn't try to stop them because he did not have a death wish.
I judged you by surface, Dad, and not by who you are.
Are you crying?
Timmy, I really didn't like not liking you, you know?
4Kids makes it a bit clearer, with Tekna admitting she herself had been scared to confess her feelings, and instead blamed Timmy for not doing so first.
I feel like I almost lost you today, and it made me realize I've been mad at you because you wouldn't make the first move. But really, that's just me being scared of stepping up myself and telling you how much I absolutely adore you.
Her vulnerability snags her the best relationship in the show and a Charmix. Flora is left as the last Winx without a Charmix, which she's very insecure about, especially when her power over nature is needed to heal the dying flower of life in Pixie Village. Or Tree of Life, depending on the dub, but like, girl, that's a flower. And also there's another Tree of Life later on. It's the Flower of Life. That's not important right now. Flora manages to pull it off thanks to the encouragement of her season-long crush, Helia, and earns her Charmix by confessing her feelings to him.
Helia, I love you.
Huh? I do too. Mwah.
Admittedly, 4Kids botched this one, but it's arguably the most satisfying of the Charmixes aside from Aisha.
Helia, I really like you.
I like you. Mwah.
I knew he'd say it back. Ha!
So overall, I'm not against the way that the Charmix form was earned, but it felt very rushed, packed into just a few episodes at the tail end of season 2. So while these do technically work as the bookends to most of the girls' arcs this season, they don't feel as well executed as they should. The real problem here is more how it comes out of left field. You see, not once before this moment had the word Charmix even been uttered throughout this season. Faragonda never mentions it as something fairies in their second year should work towards, and there's been absolutely no setup. And not only does it feel random, but it also feels too little too late, since the first Charmix is earned in episode 20 of a 26 episode season. And even then, Charmix doesn't feel all that impressive once it's earned, as the Winx only tend to use it on Darkar's shadow monsters and random wildland beasts. When they do use it against Darkar himself, it's only marginally effective, only vanquishing him when they all use their Charmix together through convergence. We don't even get a showdown between the Winx's Charmix and the Trix's Gloomix. The whole season, the Trix have been using their Gloomix power-ups from Darkar to kick the Winx's asses. Arguably even more so than they did in season 1. So naturally, you would expect the Charmix to be able to level the playing field. But we don't even get one fight between the two forms, which feels like such a wasted opportunity. The Winx not getting to face off with the Trix as they storm Darkar's castle and instead being left to fight worthless henchmen is bullshit. Even stranger, Charmix isn't in season 3 at all. Some say it's because the Winx basically used up all of their Charmix taking out Darkar, which, girl, what? No other form has ever worked like this, and even if it did, that's stupid as fuck. So if you overexert it, it just goes away forever. Thanks, I hate it. And since no dub of the show ever says this outright, no, I'm not taking this as canon. It just feels so weird to not have the Winx be using their Charmix this season, especially since it could help up Valtor's threat level if he keeps brushing it off. Not to mention, it would be nice to give more screen time to the Charmix forms that didn't get a lot to work with last season in the first place. So let's work a little rewrite magic. We won't be rewriting all of season 2 because I love myself, and also season 2 is still that underrated girl whose name y'all need to put more respect on. However, a bit of tweaking could help Charmix shine far more than it did in the original. The designs are fine, so we'll leave them be, along with how they're earned, sort of. Instead, we will be doing two things. Firstly, we will have Faragonda introduce the concept of Charmix early on. Perhaps she can mention it in the first episode of season 2, mentioning the Charmix as a goal of second-year fairies, describing what it does and how it's earned, but letting us know it exists and that the Winx will be striving towards it. Then in episode 6, where the group is trying to save Brandon from Princess Amentia of Downland, Stella's confession of love earns her a Charmix.
I love you, Schnookums.
I love you, Stella. I'm sorry.
She's still weakened both by the Underrealm and the lack of sunlight while underground, but the Charmix could give her enough magic to escape from the guards and fly down to Brandon. She's not sure if she has enough magic to get them out of here, but she's still gonna try and put up a fight. Maybe she could even briefly fight Amentia. I mean, we've seen she's combat ready, clearly. Stella's struggling, but thankfully, Amorai still saves the day with her soulmate Blossom, directing Amentia's focus to Sponsus, and allowing us all to leave in peace. Stella is the first of the group to earn her Charmix. But wait, I hear you ask. You said you wouldn't change how the Winx earn their Charmix. Well, you see, I have a plan for that, and you'll just need to be patient for the time being. Stella could get to show off her Charmix a bit more in the next couple episodes, against the Dark Tower and the Kurbog monster at Red Fountain. Then in episode 10, when Sky is nearly killed by Icy, Bloom confesses her love for Sky, earning her Charmix and healing Sky with the Flame of Life.
He doesn't have any pulse. This can't be happening. I am not gonna let him go. I need you. I really, really do. Please, Sky.
Bloom!
Immediately, her Charmix is tied to her healing magic, opening up this new facet of the Dragon Flame. Maybe she could even use her Charmix to undo the homesickness spell on the Pixies in episode 11. And these two, being the first Winx to get their Charmix, could add some complications to their convergence exercises in episode 12. In episode 13, when Musa and Aisha are confronted by gang members, don't ask, Musa is pulled away and Aisha is left in darkness, triggering her fears. As a result, she unleashes a powerful attack shooting plasma in all directions, pushing the gang members back and saving Musa. Perhaps right before she releases the attack, her determination to save Musa earns her a Charmix, and the huge attack is her first Charmix spell.
You better do what we say, or you're gonna be real sorry. And so's your friend.
In episode 15, which is all about Musa and her family, she has been forbidden by her father from singing at the Red Fountain concert. However, she still goes on, performing the very song that her father wrote for her late mother. When she finishes her performance, she gets her Charmix, using it in concert, lol, with everyone singing with her to fuel her powers even further, taking Stormy down. Charmix would absolutely come in clutch in the Cloud Tower episodes. The four girls who have their Charmix could brag about it, while Flora and Tecna feel left behind, and even a bit resentful. Later on, Musa and Aisha could use their Charmix powers together, helping them stand against the Trix. Well, while Bloom's Charmix could help her against the Trix, it can make up for the fact that she's alone. Or she loses it during the fight. If the Charmix is about facing your fears and getting in touch with yourself, perhaps regressing and losing your way means that the Charmix no longer finds you worthy. You lose it and all of its powers. These episodes are all about the Winx turning against each other, losing their ability to cooperate, culminating in a failed convergence spell as the Trix steal the Codex. What else would make it an even more dire loss than losing the Charmix? Then, in the Wildland episodes, the Winx regain their Charmix forms as they get back on the right track, while Tecna and Flora finally get their Charmixes, granting us incredible catharsis. Personally, I would enjoy Dark Bloom also getting a kind of anti-Charmix, or a Gloomix of her own, while the Winx use their Charmix in a final clash with the Trix. Aisha uses some water magic that Icy can't freeze, Tecna uses her Charmix to redirect Stormy's lightning back at her, Stella uses her mirror spells to reflect Darcy's attacks or just full-on blind her. And this loss against the Winx is what prompts Darkar to cast the Trix out to wherever the hell he sends them. And of course, we have the Winx using Charmix occasionally during Season 3. They use it against Valtor and it doesn't work. Aisha gets to use it against the Kraken, maybe even against the big wave in the first episode. Maybe she's the one who quells the seas with it. Or using it to amplify the power of Ligeia's scepter before she gets Enchantix. Stella uses it against the dragon to protect her dad, Flora uses it to speak to the trees about Farragonda, so on and so forth. The Charmix is not a bad idea, but in execution, it leaves a lot to be desired. If it got a little bit more love, perhaps it would be what's needed to take Season 2 from underrated to celebrated. Anyhow, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this from me, then be sure to subscribe and ring that bell for notifications because YouTube hates creators. I'm the Unicorn of War, and Charmix was kind of a shit show, y'all.